Welcome back to our channels, Warriors. We are still growing. If you haven't had your suegra smash that subscribe button, go ahead and have her smash it right now. First and foremost, let me give a shout out to the following patrons: Claudia Gee, Isaac, Miguel, Let Our Actions Lead Others to Christ, Big Bad 48, Nova, Jon Wick, Jack, Michigan Wolverines, Marius, Abuelitas Journey, Chevelle 66, and DAUSHERRERO. If you haven't signed up for the Patreon below, you're missing out. This episode right here is going to be about staff assaults. When inmates in blue put hands on staff members in green and or free staff, right? Staff assaults. Could be medical staff, it can be free staff. I'm going to talk about green, all right? Hector, you seem to know a thing or two about prison, right? Seeing that you did 16 years with the California Department of Corrections. Prior to me becoming a CO, my dad, my pops, was a correctional officer. He joined the department in 1993, the good old days. The good old-fashioned days, right? LA was off the hook. Gangs were off the hook. The prison was off the hook. Couldn't beat it, right? Couldn't ask for more. I remember asking my dad once prior to going to the academy, what if I get assaulted? He said, when you get assaulted. When? I said, when? Don't you mean if? He said, no, when you get assaulted. And that planted a seed in my head from day one. And I'm glad he told me that. I had that, that leg up, so to say. Put me in the right mindset, right? Hector, you come off as a peaceful guy. You come off real laid back and chill, very peaceful and happy-go-lucky. What about during staff assaults? I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I've always kept it real with you guys. That's a whole nother monster. That's a whole nother animal, right? And I'm going to elaborate on that, okay? Right, wrong, or indifferent. Right, wrong, or indifferent, okay? When your partner is getting assaulted, right, I'm going to put you now into the mindset of green. When your partner is getting assaulted, at that moment, there is no time to ask questions. There is no time. Check this out. The same way that a Southern Hispanic Sureño would not stop and ask a question during the middle of a riot when the blacks and the Mexicans, the whites and the Mexicans, the others and the Mexicans are going off, right? Like, hey, who started this? What was this over? Nope. Ain't nobody gonna do. It's game time. Right? It is game time. The mess will get sorted out after. Trust me. Right? Right, wrong, or indifferent. We're going to figure out what happened, transpired. There could possibly be learning lessons from that, training lessons from that, a good ass chewing, disciplinary, something, right, is going to a conversations to be had. But at the time of a staff assault, it was on and cracking. It was game time, right? It was game time. I joined the department in 2006, right? I saw an interview yesterday on Chill's channel, 16 to Life, right? Where he interviewed an old prison guard, a real OG prison guard. And the question was asked, hey, man, are they still touching these dudes up, right? That guard said, if an inmate put hands on green, he got 3 ass whoopings. 1 ass whooping at the scene of the crime, 1 ass whooping on his way to ADSEG, and the 3rd and final ass whooping in ADSEG the whole. Which makes sense. It made sense then. It makes sense, right? Like, okay, this person, and I told you, without knowing facts or circumstances, you just see a brother in green, a sister in green get hurt. That is what And let's talk about fairness. If it's a sneaky attack, right, like a cold clock, or this one happened at Donovan. It was like a two-for-one crime. One of the inmates told the CO, "Look down, your shoe is untied." Man, that's probably one of the oldest tricks in the book. Officer looks down, the other homie comes, Kwah! Right, Hadouken, straight Street Fighter type uppercut, broke the homie's nose, right? Broke the CO's nose. So that is a sneak attack, right? That was not fair. That was not cool, right? Officer didn't ask you to get punched in the nose. Weapons, right? We don't have weapons. We don't have weapons. And this was my thought. I remember an old Mexican partner at Centinela. He told me, like, hey, he told the inmate one time, we're never going to hit you with a knife. We're never going to hit you with a knife. You're going to hit us with knives. And then, like, I'm like, oh shit, like, damn, this dude knows what he's talking about, right? So that's not cool either. Fighting dudes with weapons. And I'm talking about straight staff assaults, right? The beatings, the beating ups of each other, right? I talk about warriors in the garden. Well, these are the warriors in the war, right? So in 2006, by then, the truth is maybe the tail end. Talking about getting your ass kicked at the scene of the crime, on the way to ADSEG, and in ADSEG. Reason being is because by then, the department was pushing the code of silence. Big time they were pushing the code of silence. Something that the administration is violating now, by far, right? So they had scared everyone into saying, tell on your partner, tell on your partner, tell on your partner. Which is cool and all. I mean, if that's what they want to do, if that's what they want to push, right? A lot of us were just young kids, joined 21, 22, man. Like, hey, I'm here to make a lot of money, hook up with chicks, drink a lot, party. We'll do what you tell us to do, right? I don't particularly like getting my ass kicked, but, right, we're going to do what you tell us to do, right? So, should I do it? Yeah, so all this talk about the green wall and Hector, have you read this book? Have you read that book? No, I have not read that book, right, that you guys are referring, right? Because, like I said, I will never say I'm an OG. I will never say I did catch, to me, in my humble opinion, the tail end of what was just said, right? We are now in 2023. Now, absolute nightmare. Now you'll literally have officers getting punched in the face, slapped around, and you'll have officers saying, hey, mister, can you please stop that? Mister, ow, that hurts. Please stop that. Right? Which made it extremely frustrating for me as a supervisor, right? As a sergeant, as a lieutenant. Like, hey, man, there is a point when you stop talking and you start action, right? It's one of those points is when you're getting physically battered, right? Staff assaults. On one of the episodes, I mentioned that I had never been assaulted. And second time I say it, I can say it now because I never wanted to jinx myself. Your boy never physically got assaulted. Thank God, because this is all I got working for me, right? It's all I got. Lose this, I'm out of a job. Well, fuck, I'm already out of a job. Anyways, here we go. Just gonna go down the list. In no particular order, right off the top of my head, firing off. Okay. There was a time, and I'm telling you guys, when I elaborate on these stories, don't dig too much into it. I know the politics behind it. I've already referenced on that. There was a time the higher-ups, Sacramento, mixed the GPs and the SNYs on A yard at Donovan, right? The Southerners did not like that one bit. Ooh, they did not like that. They kept slashing and stabbing and beating up their opponents. Nothing was happening to them. It was just a matter of time before they turned on green to get their point across. I could see that coming a mile away. I was a lieutenant. There was one Sunday, staff assault. Boom. Self-eating, they cracked the door, And this is the problem, man. The officers were not on point. They were not expecting this. Even after I told them expect this, it's frustrating. Imagine how frustrating you're telling, like, imagine you're a coach of a boxer and like, hey, you're gonna go in the ring. This guy's gonna punch you, and the dude just goes in there. Wah! Well, the cell door opens. Of course, the Sureño comes out, takes flight, starts punching the cop on the upper tier. Boom, he gets taken down. In that one, did that dude get worked? Right, I already told you we weren't whooping their ass at the scene of the crime, on the way to ADSEG, and in ADSEG. Did that dude get worked? That dude got his, that dude, right? But nothing like, I was always an advocate and push. Once the cuffs comes off, once the cuffs come on, that's a wrap, right? There's body-worn cameras. There's cameras in the scenes. There's partners telling on each other left and right. So don't think that things got way out of control or way out of hand, that nobody could reel it back, or that there's a complete corruption on that end, right? That's later that evening. One of the Sureños, a different Sureño that was involved, there was probably like 10 staff assaults on that yard that day. Program doesn't stop. RJD, they need to bulldoze that prison to the ground. It doesn't stop, right? That's how you're asking. How, Hector, that's not true. There can never be 10 or 15 staff assaults in one day. You're lying. Go to hell. Excuse me? Ask anybody from Donovan how wild that place is, right? One of those Southerners that was involved in one of those 10 staff assaults was in the TTA. This dude had a cast on from something else. This dude had a cast of some sort. Man, this other solid, good cop was in there in the TT triage treatment area, the little hospital, the little clinic inside of the prison. Man, they take off one of the flex cuffs, one of the handcuffs. And next thing you know, the officer, all he hears is, Spencer! Boom! Cracked him on the side of the face, man. You know, the inmate said Spencer. In other words, saying dispensa, like excuse me, or I'm sorry, right? Like, I gotta do this, right? So Spencer, boom, cracked the CO. That inmate, ooh, yeah. I'm telling you, right? Man. So, then there was the one on minimum yard at Centinela, my first one, when I was a brand new CO, that skinny little Sureño that didn't want to get up off the table from eating, right? There's another video on here. He headbutted my partner. That one didn't end well for the little youngster, right? So, you guys are catching a drift. Taking L's, right? And all this being done by the puppeteers at the top, right? Sacramento in green. So, Hector, what about afterwards, right? Somebody asked on a comment last night. What is the process afterwards of a staff assault? Well, you go to the hospital. Right? You'll go to your nearest emergency room in your uniform, bloody, ripped, unless you got gassed, an inmate threw feces or urine on you. They're gonna give you a loner uniform, a loner jumpsuit. They have those. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you where they have them, but they have them. You take off your uniform, you put it in a brown paper bag. It gets bagged into evidence for the Goon Squad, ISU, Investigative Services Unit, because there's, evidence on it. Other than that, you're going to the hospital with your stab wounds, with your black eye, with your broken nose, with your broken orbital, with your dislocated shoulder, with your blown out knee, your torn meniscus. I've seen a lot. In my time. I personally would go to the hospital and take some Oreo cookie shakes from Jack in a Box to the officers, sergeants, lieutenant one time. My boy, he's a lieutenant, he got assaulted, right? Take Oreo cookie shakes just to brighten up their mood, right? Let them know that, hey, they're not alone. And I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but I was thinking maybe the sweet, the sugar can probably help with your adrenaline. I don't know. Like I said, it was just like Oreo cookie shakes are bomb. Hey, I would appreciate one, right? And you'll come to find out nobody will go and visit you, right? Administrators won't go and visit you. I will say this. I did see one warden at one time in there, and then there was that horrible warden that I worked for. When those officers got stabbed up, man, bad. That was the worst thing I had seen on an officer. The facial damage, right? The face was broken. The face was smashed. That officer is lucky he did not die. He is lucky he did not die. Trust me, I've seen people die in many different ways. That individual was right there. Right there. Trust me. I'm talking about broken face, stab wounds all about. You know, I'm not trying to be graphic. I'm trying to be respectful of that individual and of that situation. But that takes years of recuperation, physically recuperation, let alone the mental demons that you gotta battle, PTSD. I talk to some of these dudes still, and the nightmares, that's not gonna go away, right? Hector, how do you know it's not gonna go away? Because it hasn't gone away from me, from the military, from the prison. Like, that part sucks, man. That part does suck. ISU will go to your house, take evidence, photographs, like 1 week later, 3 days later, when the swelling is at the most, when the black eye is at the most, right? When you got your stitches, right? Like, it's hey, it's no joke, man. It's no joke, right? That's the warrior in the war, to fight for survival, literally. Message for today is, hey, just stay on your P's and Q's, right? Stay on your P's and Q's, watch what you do, say, and when it's time to get down, it's prison, right? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lead any lambs to the slaughter. I will never do that. I will never do that. Safety was my #1 in prison. I already told you guys. I would tell my officers 3 things. I only give a shit about 3 things in this order. #1 is your safety. #2 is make sure you don't get fired. #3 is make sure you don't get fired in the process. Keep pushing forward.